Part 9 of this video series on the Gamkaskloof covers the last 2 kilometers down the Elands Pass. The second of the 5 hairpins makes its appearance at the 35.2 kilometer mark. This hairpin is concreted, so if you're in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you'll need to disengage the center diff, otherwise the vehicle will experience axle wind-up, which is not good for the differentials, but do remember to re-engage it once you've cleared the bend. Despite this short section being just 2 kilometers long, you'll descend a total of 137 meters, which converts into an average descent gradient of 1 in 14, but there are many sections along this final drop which do get as steep as 1 in 7. The third hairpin, which is a right-hander, has a slightly wider radius and is gravel surfaced, but still requires a low speed of around 10 kilometers per hour to prevent a wheel going over the edge. It makes its appearance at the 35.3 kilometer mark, and once safely through this hairpin, the heading settles back into the west-southwest for the next 400 meters, descending consistently. The northern spine of the Swartberg Mountains, now on your right, has an average height of 1,300 meters. All of the north-south running streams have carved substantial kloofs out of the mountainside. Most of the kloofs on the right have been given names, such as Hoornisse Kloof, Vleermuisgat, Jan Franse Kloof, Skrifkloof, Vlekieskloof and Klipnikse Kloof. The fourth hairpin is at the 35.7 kilometer point and bends once again into the left. As in the previous left-handed hairpin, this takes the direction back into the east-southeast for the final time. This leg lasts for 400 meters and the road can be seen at a lower level, a sure indicator that you've almost reached the bottom of the pass. From this point, the drop-offs gradually become less severe and the buildings in the valley start taking on a less toy-like appearance as altitude is lost. This part of the Elands Pass descends for most of its length down a long ridge which is formed by 2 kloofs. The more westerly of these is known as Lemoenkloof. The fifth and final hairpin is reached at the 36.1 kilometer point and is the easiest of the 5 in terms of turning circle. With the terrain having substantially leveled off, the last 700 meters of the pass is relatively easy. It's believed that the name Die Hel was derived from the original Afrikaans word for helling, which means steep incline. It's still not entirely certain where the name came from though, and several folk etymologies have developed. One popular story is that a certain Piet Botha visited the valley in the 1940s and used a particularly difficult route known as Die Leer into the valley. He described the experience as hell. The valley residents don't like the name however and prefer to call themselves Clovers. The vegetation becomes increasingly dense as more and more trees appear amongst the thousands of aloes. A few signboards are passed as the road loses the last bit of altitude via a fairly easy S-bend. The valley was declared a national monument in 1997 and was included into the Swartberg Nature Reserve. Subsequently, the cottages in the valley have been renovated and equipped with solar power and bathrooms. The road now plunges into thicker bush and suddenly, after clearing a small dip, the stone entrance gates of the rest camp at Die Hel appear directly ahead. A small dun-coloured traditional farmhouse is located right next to the road, which is one of several cottages in the kloof which have been carefully restored. Nearly all of the cottages run on solar power and gas and all have fireplaces for those chilly winter nights. The game ranger's house is off to the left, should you require assistance with anything. It's important to book the accommodation and the campsites in advance through Cape Nature. The campsites are attractively laid out in the riverine bush and provide good shade with spotless ablutions. All of the cottages and campsites are named after some of the original Clovers. Here you'll find names like Stoffel, Michal, Valjapi, Jan Brein and Lekker Jan. This is only the start of the valley known as Die Hel. There are more accommodation options further to the west, with the likes of Fonteinplaas after another 5.5 kilometers, and the final farm in the west, which also offers cottages, is known as Boerplaas, which is 8 kilometers further west after crossing the Gamka River.